Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A coronavirus outbreak at the Northwest Regional Hospital has struck more staff, with another 6 testing positive. The Premier says he's discussed locking down Burnie if the situation escalates and people don't abide by the distancing rules.
Inside this hospital, the coronavirus outbreak continues its spread among staff and patients. Overnight, 8 more people connected to the Northwest Regional tested positive. 6 of them staff, bringing the total of frontline workers to 12.
This group of 12 contains medical, nursing and allied health staff. The outbreak management team that has been established in the Northwest has continued its work of tracing patients and staff contacts.
That outbreak management team now expanded to trace the spread as health authorities work around the clock to contain the disease.
We have bolstered this team with highly skilled professionals across infectious disease, epidemiologists as well as primary health experts. We've also brought together staff from all regions.
I've spoken with the Police Commissioner this morning, and the North West Coast will have special attention paid to it over coming days and over the course of Easter.
Yesterday, a man in his 80s died of coronavirus at the hospital, Tasmania's 3rd related death. Nurses on the front line say it's a wake-up call.
The biggest fear really for us nurses is taking it home to our families and to the broader community. It's pretty much uncharted waters.
The Premier already discussing the idea of forcing Burnie into lockdown.
What we want people to do is to follow the rules. There is no need to move to a hard lockdown if people will follow the rules. They are strict, they are clear.
I'm not going to just ask my fellow North West Coasters. I beg you to follow the rules. It is so important.
People are disobeying the rules because it's inconveniencing them, but they don't realise that if they don't follow the rules now, that they're going to last longer.
And as the outbreak escalates, there have already been talks about whether or not to lock down the hospital.
We had a meeting last night and discussed what our options might be in terms of maintaining the viability of the hospital as long as we possibly can.
Tasmania now has 98 confirmed cases of the disease. Michelle Wisby, 7 Tasmania News.
East Coast residents are pleading with holidaymakers to stay away this Easter to protect their towns from the virus. There'll be no influx of tourists this year and no economic boost, but locals say it's for the best.
The streets are bare and police want to keep them that way.
Stay at home, don't be selfish, don't put other communities at risk and listen to the directions that are given.
Officers patrolled the main drag of St Helens today and they'll be doing more of it over the coming days, making sure out-of-towners don't come visiting this Easter.
Police will pull cars over, they will speak to people in the streets, in the public places, on the beaches. If they don't have valid reasons for being out, police will use common sense and do have the ability to use discretion. But if it's a blatant breach of the directions, well then people can be prosecuted.
For small businesses, it's a major blow.
We rely on the shackies, so at the moment the local community's keeping me going.
But even they want people to stay away.
We've had no infections so far that we know of, so we kind of want to keep it that way. We don't want people to not visit us, but wait until after this is all over.
Gary Pannon says he's just thankful he can still operate during this testing time, knowing many aren't as lucky.
Obviously it's hard, one day it's busy, the next day it's not, but we're still open, so that to us is a bonus for our staff to keep working.
Local business owners say Easter is the busiest time of the year for them, with the town's population increasing 5-fold. Come Saturday, you wouldn't be able to find a park here on the main street. This year will be very different.
Unfortunately, we are a very dependent municipality on tourism, and tourism has come to a stop. So, where a lot of retailers look forward to the Easter break to help build up the cash reserves for the winter, that's not going to happen, so it's really sad.
But the key reason to stay away from regional areas is to protect the more vulnerable populations.
If the virus came here, it would just go through this community sort of really quick.
We've got about the 2nd oldest demographic in Tasmania, so this is a very serious issue, and we're pleading with the public to do the right thing listen to the government's messages and stay home, stay safe. Look after your loved ones at home so we can look after ours.
Letitia Wallace, 7 Tasmania News.
There's a new tool in the fight against coronavirus in Tasmania with the start of drive-through testing at Castray Esplanade in Hobart. For more on the development, we cross live now to our reporter Ebony Ablett. Good evening, Ebony. How is the drive-through testing different to the traditional clinics?
Pete, it's hoped that this new way of testing will help limit the spread of coronavirus even further by limiting the movement of people who are going and may have the disease. Those referred for testing can pull up in their cars. They stay in their vehicle but wind down the window. Health workers approach dressed in gowns and protective equipment. They get the samples that they need and then off it goes for testing. That patient, who could be a risk for having coronavirus, drives off with very limited contact with people and objects. So it's seen as a much less risky way to undertake the testing than, say, going to a GP or a hospital. This is a first drive-through clinic and it's capable of handling 140 tests a day, and more clinics are set to be rolled out.
But that will all be expanded on clinical need. We'll ensure that we let the local community know as these facilities actually open. But for all Tasmanians, if you think you need to be tested, the first thing to do is either call your GP or call the public health hotline.
And Pete, it's important to note that testing here is by referral only. An appointment needs to be made before turning up for testing.
Thanks very much for that. Ebony Ablett joining us there. A Tasmanian retail icon is set to be lost with a major Hobart department store to close. Harris Scarf went into administration late last year, throwing the future of its local stores in doubt. A spokesperson for the receivers says they've been unable to negotiate terms for the Hobart store's lease to keep it commercially viable. So that store will close over the next few months, making 35 staff redundant. The Collins Street shopfront began trading as Fitzgerald's in the 1800s before being taken over by the Harris Scarf brand. Receivers say the other 4 Tasmanian stores are not affected. Well, it's certainly not a typical Easter this year, but traditions remain the same. That's the message from local businesses and church leaders. They're coming up with new ways to spread the cheer, transitioning to click and collect, home delivery and online methods.
Chocolate is one of life's sweetest treats and a big part of Easter celebrations for many Tasmanians. At Federation's store in Hobart, the doors are still open for now.
We've unfortunately had to close Tirana and we can't do Salamanca, so Easter this year is not about having people in store, it's about us being able to get product to people.
With social distancing and self-isolation making it harder for people to come in store, the business has started offering home delivery for online orders.
The next 4 days I will have the bunny ears on, we'll be in the car, we'll be delivering all the way through to Easter Saturday. Hopefully we'll get them all done. If not, it'll be a Sunday morning Easter bunny turn up at your house.
It's a business as usual message from Banjos, busy baking thousands of their hot cross buns in stores across the state. Introducing contactless click and collect in store and expanding their offerings into online delivery platforms.
We've just introduced the hot cross buns into Uber Eats menu. So you can sit at home and order your hot cross buns and have them home delivered.
Seafood retailer Ashmore has seen business pick up since introducing home delivery, having to close orders early due to overwhelming demand. Still seeing people in store to purchase their fish for Good Friday feasts.
A lot of people are doing click and collect, which is great. It's really sped up the orders. Because of the restrictions, we can only have 3 in. There's a line behind where everybody's being so helpful and they're all queuing outside and keeping their social distance.
And with churches affected by coronavirus closures, services this year will be streamed online.
There'll be no people in any of our church buildings for Easter Day, but that message of Easter continues on, and so we're inviting people to join us online this year for our Good Friday services and our Easter Day services right across the state.
Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian students without internet access at home will be loaned laptops and Wi-Fi dongles under a new education scheme. With the pandemic forcing the vast majority of young people to learn from home, the new program will prioritise Year 11 and 12 students. Offline paper-based learning materials will also be available, delivered straight to students' letterboxes.
Schools are working hard to ensure that no student is disadvantaged by economic or geographic circumstances. We have built an education system on equity.
Other support services are also being offered to students, including help from nurses, psychologists and social workers. A Launceston teenager is refusing to let the global virus crisis stand in the way of achieving her dreams. Dayla Bowman has been accepted into the San Francisco Ballet School after years of hard work, but jetting over there is now the real challenge.
Swapping the studio for the back deck. 15-year-old Dayla Bowman isn't putting her feet up, even with the whole world at home.
I've been doing my work in the kitchen and out on the deck outside. I've got a ballet bar and a little bit of flooring, so it's good. Yeah, it's a good area.
In one way, not much has changed. She's been doing distance education in recent years so she can focus on ballet. But in another way, everything has changed.
I've just been accepted into San Francisco Ballet School. I'm really excited. It's a really prestigious ballet school, so I'm beyond excited to have been accepted into it.
Flying there in September might be up in the air as COVID-19 causes chaos.
But if it was to impact on my start, I would continue training at my ballet school in Sydney.
Until then, she'll keep up her daily regimen, practicing 5 hours every day. Dayla picked up the passion when she was just 4 years old. Her message to other young people struggling to maintain their interests:
I think it's just really important to keep doing what you'd normally do in an everyday, just adapting to what you have at home.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. 19 was the state's top today at Devonport, 18 across Launceston and Burnie, Hobart 14. Flinders Island, Smithton and Low Head reaching 18, 17 about St Helens and Strawn and Ouse 16. On the close-up, a small amount of low-level cloud is seen covering Tasmania. Further out, thunderstorms are seen over the northwest of WA and the top end, while the rest of Australia is mostly cloud-free. Tomorrow, an inland trough lies over Queensland and New South Wales, while another weaker trough sits over the central coast of Western Australia. Variable winds tomorrow, 5 to 15 knots, swells up to 2.5 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for the southwest coast from Southeast Cape to Low Rocky Point, and a frost warning for the Midlands, East Coast and Upper Derwent Valley forecast districts. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart and Cygnet sunny, 21 at New Norfolk. In the north, Launceston partly cloudy, 18 at Devonport, Campbelltown 17. Burnie tomorrow, partly cloudy, mostly sunny and 19 across Strawn and Smithton, and sunny and 20 right across St Helens, Swansea and Fingal. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast: Friday, showers about the north and west increasing from late afternoon. Saturday, showers mostly clearing from the north in the afternoon, possible thunderstorms in the southwest, and Sunday, showers about the west and far south. Capital cities 33 and sunny in Perth tomorrow, possible showers in Canberra and Brisbane 27 and partly cloudy. And currently Hobart 10 and mostly clear, Launceston 12 and Devonport 13 and partly cloudy. That's all for weather tonight, Murph.
Thanks very much for that, Jackie. It looks like a fine sunny day tomorrow for everybody. I guess it doesn't matter if it's rain, hail or shine. We're not able to do anything, but staying at home saves lives. That's all our news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.